Have you ever dreamed of stepping into a real-life fairy tale? High in the Bavarian Alps of Germany, there's a castle that seems plucked straight from a storybook. With its soaring white towers, romantic turrets, and dramatic mountain backdrop, Neuschwanstein Castle isn't just a building. It's a fantasy brought to life. It's so iconic, it even inspired the Sleeping Beauty castle at Disneyland. But behind this magical facade lies a story not of a fairy tale king, but of a reclusive, misunderstood monarch, a tale of obsession, art, and tragedy. Today, we're unlocking the gates to explore the incredible history of Neuschwanstein Castle. The story of Neuschwanstein is inseparable from its creator, King Ludwig II of Bavaria, ascending to the throne in 1864 at just 18 years old. Ludwig was young, handsome, and idealistic, but he wasn't interested in the politics and warfare of the 19th century. Instead, his heart belonged to the world of art, poetry, and especially the epic operas of Richard Wagner. Ludwig saw Wagner as a kindred spirit, a creator of mythical German worlds filled with heroic knights, tragic lovers, and noble kings. These weren't just stories to him. They were a reality he desperately wanted to inhabit, a perfect world far from the disappointing realities of his own reign. In 1866, Bavaria suffered a humiliating defeat in the Austro-Prussian War, forcing it to ally with Prussia. This was a devastating blow to Ludwig. His power as a sovereign ruler was stripped away, leaving him a king in name only. Feeling powerless and disillusioned, he decided if he couldn't be a true king in the political realm, he would build his own kingdom, a kingdom of stone and fantasy, where he could reign supreme. He chose a breathtakingly beautiful but challenging location for his new sanctuary, a rugged hill overlooking his childhood home, Neuschwanstein Castle. This was where his dream would take physical form. In 1869, the first foundation stone of Neuschwanstein, which translates to New Swan Stone, was laid. The name itself is a tribute to the Swan Knight, Lohengrin, a hero from one of Wagner's operas and a figure Ludwig deeply identified with. This wasn't going to be a fortress for defense. It was designed as a giant, habitable stage set. Every room, every mural, and every carving was meticulously planned to be a monument to medieval German myths and Wagner's operas. Ludwig hired a stage designer, Christian Jank, rather than an architect, to create the initial sketches, proving that theatricality and fantasy were the primary goals. The construction was a monumental undertaking. Dynamite was used to level the hilltop, and a massive workforce toiled for years. Advanced technology for the time, like steam-powered cranes, was used to hoist materials up the steep mountain. Ludwig poured his personal fortune, and then some, into the project. He obsessed over every detail, demanding the highest quality craftsmanship. He wanted the castle to be a perfect medieval illusion, but with all the modern comforts. It had running water on every floor, a hot air central heating system, and even a telephone line, innovations almost unheard of in a 19th century castle. Let's step inside. The interior of Neuschwanstein is a dazzling, almost overwhelming display of artistry. The throne hall is a breathtaking two-story space designed in a Byzantine style. Its mosaic floor depicts the plants and animals of the world, and a magnificent chandelier shaped like a Byzantine crown hangs from the ceiling. But ironically, the throne was never installed. Ludwig's kingdom was one of imagination, and perhaps a physical throne would have been too real. His personal bedroom is a masterpiece of Gothic Revival style that took 14 woodcarvers over 4 years to complete. The intricate carvings on his bed, washstand, and walls depict scenes from the legend of Tristan and Isolde. It's a dark, romantic, and intensely personal space. One of the most fantastical features is the grotto, an artificial cave complete with stalactites and a small waterfall. It was designed to represent the grotto of Venus from Wagner's opera Tannhauser, and could even be illuminated with colored lights, a magical, private world for the reclusive king. Then there's the Singers' Hall on the 4th floor. It's one of the most important rooms, decorated with murals depicting the legend of Parsifal and the Holy Grail. This room was Ludwig's ultimate tribute to Wagner and his operas. He dreamed of staging performances here, but tragically, no opera was ever performed in the Singers' Hall during his lifetime. The castle was his private stage, and he was its only audience. As the years went by, Ludwig's obsession with his building projects, which also included the Linderhof Palace and Herrenchiemsee Palace, grew. He became more reclusive, spending his nights awake poring over architectural plans and his days sleeping. His ministers grew increasingly alarmed. The king was neglecting his state duties, and his borrowing for the castles was spiraling into colossal debt. They saw his behavior not as eccentric, but as a sign of insanity. In 1886, the Bavarian government made a fateful decision. They conspired to have Ludwig declared mentally unfit to rule. A medical report, created by doctors who had never even examined him, was used to depose him. On June 12, 1886, a commission arrived at Neuschwanstein to take him into custody. He was forcibly removed from his unfinished dream world and taken to Berg Castle on the shores of Lake Starnberg. What happened next remains one of history's great mysteries. The very next day, on June 13th, Ludwig went for a walk along the lake with his doctor. Neither of them ever returned. Hours later, their bodies were found in the shallow water. The official ruling was that Ludwig took his own life and his doctor drowned trying to save him. But many questions remain. Was it an accident, an escape attempt gone wrong, or something more sinister? We will likely never know the full truth. Ludwig was only 40 years old. At the time of his death, Neuschwanstein was far from complete. Ludwig had only lived in his fairy tale castle for a total of 172 days. He never saw his vision fully realized. The grand throne hall lacked its throne, and entire sections of the castle were just empty shells. It was a tragic end for a king who only wanted to build a world of beauty. Just 7 weeks after his death, the very government that had deposed him decided to open Neuschwanstein to the public. The unfinished castle that had been condemned as a foolish waste of money quickly became a massive tourist attraction. The entrance fees helped to pay off the king's debts, and over time, Neuschwanstein became one of the most famous and beloved landmarks in the world. The private refuge of a lonely king became a shared dream for millions. Today, Neuschwanstein Castle welcomes over 1.4 million visitors each year. It stands as a testament to King Ludwig II's extraordinary imagination and his unwavering passion for art. It's a castle born from opera, myth, and a longing for a more beautiful world. While Ludwig's life was a tragedy, his legacy is this breathtaking architectural masterpiece. He may have lost his kingdom, but he created an eternal fairy tale for the rest of us to explore. So, the next time you see a picture of this iconic castle, remember the story of the lonely king who dared to build his dream. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey to Neuschwanstein Castle. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more adventures into history's most fascinating places. See you next time.